Hello. So, why do we do things for free? I will tell you in a second. It's because we do things that are actually not free. There's in our brain, there's a reward mechanism that happens, like a reward loop, like action, reaction, and reward. So, the free things we do are actually not quite for free. The reward in the brain is, I think, in the form of this chemical called dopamine. Yeah, it's just like a reward mechanism. So when I was growing up, a very close person of mine in my family told me that, well, when you grow up, you have to manage to do the stuff that you would do for free and manage to get paid for it. The stuff that you would do for free anyways, and then manage to get paid for it. That's the trick, he told me. And I think there's some truth in that. It's good to find our passion, and that's something that we do anyways, right? Because we like it. So, yeah, so for example, in why do we do sports, right? So, sports are kind of demanding, and we give to be part in the sport, right? We join a club, we give our time, our effort, we pay the club a fee, right? Um, it's because sports are very rewarding. For example, if you're doing gymnastics or something and you see someone do a new trick, right? It's kind of, and it's hard to do. It's something that is identified as rare, right? Not everybody can do this trick, and so if you can do this trick, you're good. So it's rare and valuable at the same time. So you decide you want to train to be able to do this trick. Or if you're in a different sport, like for example, track and field or something, right? There's like a feeling of when you see someone achieve something hard, feeling of awe. So you think, oh wow, they're so good at this. You value them like, oh, they're good at this. So you want to also become like them, right? Good at a certain thing. So that's kind of like the reward mechanism, right? In those in sports, for example. Um, but now I want to move on to a different thing that we do kind of for free. So, for example, one of the things is doodling. We do it like, why do we doodle, right? I read somewhere that it engages, rewires your brain a little bit, like it engages your brain in a different manner when you doodle, and it's beneficial for learning and things like that. Like, for example, I remember when I used to listen to lectures, I would doodle while I listened to lectures, and then I would look afterwards, I would look at my book and I would see all these doodles I did. And sometimes they were like full on drawings, right? I was so bored at the lecture that I would start drawing. So, yeah, but a thing I wanted to mention is when we do something that has no visible purpose, our brain like finds it a purpose, right? We assign meaning to things. So initially, the initial condition is that there's no visible purpose to what we're doing, but then we find the meaning, and that gives it purpose. So the meaning is the reward, kind of, right? The meaning is the reward to something that has no visible purpose. So our brains are wired so much into this loop of um, trying to find reward in what we do that we can even find meaning to things that have no visible purpose. So, some free things that you can do that trigger this reward mechanism that are absolutely free. One of the things is you can tidy up space. So, cleaning up around the house, tidying up space is rewarding to your brain. Another thing is journaling your thoughts. So journal, I actually I researched this a little bit to find those things. And journaling your thoughts is one of them. And to raise this up a level, not only you can journal your thoughts, but you can share your thoughts with an AI chatbot, for example. And it's very interesting the things that the artificial intelligence can reflect back to you from your thoughts. So if you kind of monitor your thoughts and you think, oh, this might be interesting, you've thought up something interesting, and you share it to the chatbot, it's very rewarding to see what the system thinks about that. Or you could share it with a friend, right? It doesn't need to be a chatbot, but it's just chatbots are really accessible anytime. That's why I mentioned that. But you can also share it with a friend and see what they think about that. But yeah, so next thing is walking outside. That's rewarding, right? It's known so many benefits for you, right? The sunlight and seeing other people around, walking in nature, for example, it's calming and clearing up your thoughts. So walking outside, or even if it doesn't need to be in nature, like even if you're in the city, walking outside is still beneficial. Um, Creating something. So you can create, uh, try to write a text, or make a song, or draw a painting or something, right? Like something artsy. But if for example, if you're a programmer, you can try to code a new program. Creating something is extremely rewarding. The next thing is that I read about is taking a cold shower or an ice bath. And that's something that I've done in the past, but I don't do anymore because I find it a little bit discomforting, right? You have to grind through that initial moment of discomfort, um, and then when it's over, you feel good, right? But uh, it's still like super beneficial for your health taking a cold shower or an ice bath, and many people do it. So I had to mention it. The next thing is observing progressions. So what is that? So any type of progression, we feel like it's really rewarding. That's why in games, in video games, for example, there's like you have your character and you keep upgrading your character. Your character gains more experience, or you get new armor or something, right? And your character progresses, moves forward, right? So that's a progression. But we can also see real life examples of progressions. So you're in the city, for example, and they're building a new neighborhood or a new building here or there, or they're renovating this or that. Watching that, observing that can be rewarding because you feel like there's a like the world is moving forward. There's a progression. Um, Another thing you could observe is technology. For example, the technology always keeps progressing, moving forward, and that's extremely rewarding to progress. So before, for example, I used to watch videos about how the phones are getting better and better. To observe progressions is rewarding, right? And so those are some of the free things that you can do to feel rewarded. Um, but I wanted to end on a little bit kind of spiritual note, because there's people that have actually completely transcended this reward mechanism, this loop that's in our brain. So they've completely transcended out of that. So one example is some monks, for example. So some monks would do things completely for free without expecting any reward. Um, They would even do some very hard things or discomforting things to be in a state that they want to be in, right? So there's people that have transcended this loop. But for regular people, we're kind of stuck in this loop of action reward. And that's why I wanted to find some free things you can do to feel rewarded. All right. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, as always, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.